Hi everyone, I'm back again, this time with a Synastry chart between KeKe Palmer and Darius Jackson, by request. And I'm going to go over the planetary aspects first, which I normally don't do, but I found some interesting aspects between Pluto and the luminaries. And so they have a Plutonian relationship. This means that there's one or more planetary aspects in their compatibility chart that has Pluto involved. And Pluto is very primal and passionate, and it has a very strong pull between the two people, and it can sometimes result in obsession and control. I'm going to get to the asteroids, definitely, but I just wanted to go over these first. Now, his sun squares her sun 6 degrees. And this is not really compatible if you're living with someone, because when someone's sun squares the other sun, this means that one of them will be like really messy and disordered, and they'll leave towels laying on the floor after they take a shower, or they stay out really late and they're night owls. And the other person will be very clean or very organized, and they go to bed early and they listen to soft music. So there's not compatibility if you're living under the same roof with someone who has sun square sun. I know that Valerie Bertinelli and Eddie Van Halen had a sun square sun. So, well, that's another story. Now this is at 6 degrees, so it's pretty loose. I mean, I'd like to see it if it would be the stronger the energies are, the orb is really tight. Now, I don't think this is the main reason that they're not together. There's other reasons as well, which I'm going to get to. His sun sextiles her Mars, 0 degrees. This is very strong for sexual attraction. Now, his Venus conjuncts her Pluto at 5 degrees. His Pluto trines her Venus at 2 degrees, and that has to do with love and lust and primal attraction, like a moth to a flame. And also, his Pluto trines her ascendant, 0 degrees. So there's a lot of very strong attraction going on here, but the relationship didn't last. And I'm going to get to the asteroid aspects now, and this is why I always pull them into play, because it tells a story. And I've never seen a compatibility chart where the asteroids never fail to deliver. Now, his Apophis squares her sun 1 degree. Apophis has to do with destruction. And since it's squaring her sun, very important luminary in a compatibility chart, and it's 1 degree. So he tried to destroy her ego. He tried to break her down because Apophis has to do with destruction, and the sun represents you, what you embody in your ego. So he tried to break her down. And there's more here as well. His union and Pholus conjuncts her sun, and also Apophis again. Here we have his union that has to do with togetherness, and it's conjuncting his Pholus. There's an explosion here of this union between the two of them because it conjuncts her sun. Her sun is conjuncting Dionysus and Apophis. In this case, Dionysus has to do with partying and drinking. So she was a party girl, and I think he tried to put the kibosh on that as well, due to the Pholus conjuncting that. He exacerbated her partying. She wanted to have fun, and she thought that this was going to be like a good time. But her Apophis, which has to do with destruction, is conjuncting his union. So now there's this back and forth pull between him and her. her wanting to have fun, wanting to, be the party girl, a drink. I'm not saying that she's an alcoholic. That's not what I'm saying. But you get the idea, because Dionysus was friends with Pan and Bacchus, and that's like a Animal House situation. Her Apophis, which has to do with destruction, is conjuncting his union, like I said. So this relationship turned out to be just ended suddenly. Apophis has that ability to just end things, right away. And since it's also squaring her moon, over. And he wasn't happy about it, because her Venus conjuncts his Lacrimosa at 1 degree, and Lacrimosa has to do with tears and crying. So he came to her. This is how the chart is. The asteroids are speaking to me. That's how I interpret them. So he came to her, and there was tears and crying. I'm sorry. I don't know how this could have happened. And Venus has to do with love. So there was crying, but over what? I think that there was cheating involved, and I will get to that. I also know here in this chart that they would have never gotten married, and if that did happen, or I don't think they'll get back together. I don't see that happening. His Sun and Free Man and Messalina conjuncts her North Node and Vertex, all within 3 degrees. The vertex, very important point in a compatibility chart. It's like a second ascendant. You have to pay attention to what energies from asteroids or planets conjunct your vertex, because you will receive those, and it'll affect you deeply. Now, all of those asteroids conjuncts her North Node, and whatever conjuncts your North Node from the other person will ultimately end up being the theme of that relationship for you. So in this case, his Sun, he brought her confidence, and he was, he brought himself, and there was a light to him. She felt like maybe he could have been the light of her life, but there's Free Man here, asteroid, no marriage. He wanted to be free. He wanted to do his own thing, even though he wanted to be in this relationship. But there was a lot of sexual pull here, that's how they gravitated towards each other. And Messalina has to do with sexual manipulation, with favors involved, like if you do this for me, maybe I'll buy you this, or I could do this. It's like there's a manipulation in the sexual relationship when I see Messalina, and that's on her part as well. His Caputo and Zeus conjuncts her descendant 2 degrees, cheating. I've never seen Zeus in a chart where someone didn't cheat. It always plays out 100%. And since it's conjuncting her descendant, I'm going to say yes, definitely. And Caputo, ladies' man, infatuation, yeah. So, not good. But they're not together, so. Now, her Mars conjuncts his Blow, 2 degrees, and Blow has to do with failures and mistakes. And it could also mean drug abuse, because Blow, like I said before, in another chart, that had to do with cocaine abuse, and that was between Ike Turner and Tina Turner. And Blow can also have to do with maybe physical altercations. But in this case, her Mars conjuncts his Blow, so there was something going on there, failures and mistakes, maybe the other parts, I'm not sure. But Mars is a war planet, so there's a possibility that something happened behind the scenes with these energies, because his Blow conjuncts her IC by 1 degree. The IC is at the bottom of the chart, and it's on the cusp of the 4th house, which rules the home and the family. And it also opposes the midheaven. So whatever happens here on the IC, no one else will see. So we've got her Mars conjuncts his Blow, and his Blow conjuncts her IC. So there's something happened there behind the scenes. And I've just explained what those energies are. So it could work a couple of different ways. His Mercury Eleutheria conjuncts her Clytia in the fifth house at 1 degree. Mercury is a thinking and talking planet. And Eleutheria has to do with freedom. He loves his freedom. And Clytia, her Clytia has to do with not feeling appreciated in the relationship. So I imagine, well, I don't imagine, but I can see by looking at these energies with Mercury, he told her, I like my freedom. I want to, be able to do what I want. And she was telling him, I don't feel appreciated in this relationship. So I don't know where this is going. Well, we all know what happened. They're not together anymore. His Jupiter conjuncts her Nessus in Scorpio at 0 degrees. And it also conjuncts her Messalina. Like I said, that has to do with sexual manipulation, and it conjuncts her Isis. And Isis has to do with devotion. Also, in that mix is Isolde. That possibly has to do with a love triangle. So again, we're going back to the cheating aspects. And since his Jupiter is conjuncting her Nessus at 0 degrees, Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system, and it magnifies the energies of whatever it conjuncts. And in this case, her Nessus, which has to do with abuse. So she flipped her wig. She was like, are you blank, blank, blank kidding me? She was like over the top mad. And I'm being nice about it because it's at 0 degrees. So I don't know if she was throwing stuff at him and screaming, but I mean, it's in Scorpio. So this is like, revenge, war, and it's conjuncting her Isis. She was devoted to him, and Isolde has to do with a possible love triangle and cheating. So this whole asteroid configuration explains why she was possibly abusive towards him. And there was the sexual manipulation, maybe from or concerning the other woman that he possibly had. Her Jupiter is conjuncting his Sato at 2 degrees. So the Sato has to do with sadistic behavior. So behind the scenes, this relationship was volatile. And, we've got Pluto going on here. His Venus and Pluto conjuncts her Astarte, 0 degrees and 3 degrees. And his Pluto conjuncting Venus, that natally means that he has a love of sexual passion, and there's an indulgence and a power theme going on here. So it's conjuncting her Astarte, arguments and blow-ups. So that validates the aspect that I just talked of about Jupiter conjuncting her Nessus. Now, his Clytia conjuncts her moon, and his Aristaeus conjuncts her moon. So again, we have his Clytia conjuncting her moon. I already explained those energies, and he made her feel that she wasn't appreciated in the relationship, and it really wasn't going anywhere. And that's really tight, 1 degree. And Aristaeus has to do with, again, sexual manipulation. So this really validates the planetary placements that I spoke of in the beginning with Pluto. Pluto trining Venus, which is wonderful, but there's, the Sun square Sun, and his Venus is conjuncting Pluto, so there's this power plays and all kinds of primal passions that couldn't be sustained over a long period of time, even though his Venus squares her Saturn at 2 degrees. And that could be a glue because Saturn binds. Has a binding effect on a relationship when it is making aspects to the other person's personal planets. And in this case, it's Venus, and it's at 2 degrees. But it didn't work. I mean, that square, it takes a lot of work to keep that relationship together. But the asteroids here all worked together, and it just didn't work out for them. But I wish her luck with her new baby, and that's all I have today, and I will be back sooner with other compatibility charts. So if you're interested, hit the subscribe button, and I will be back soon. Have a nice day.